Okay, we are here. What's up, everybody? This is World News Indie Podcast. I'm here with Ren. Ren, how are you?
I'm good. Good. You, Fred?
Good. We're putting a lot of conversation to this podcast, and I think the
Yes.
product is going to slowly get better and better and better. So follow us on Spotify. We're now on Spotify. Just search World
Mm.
News Indie, and we're the first thing that shows up. We're on Instagram, World News Indie. We're on Twitter, World News Indie. Follow all those sites, and we're going to give you 2 or 3 news stories each week. Yeah, so why don't you tell us what your story's about? We're going to get to your second, but then why don't you tell us what yours about as a little bit of precursor to your article?
Well, mine is from Alberta, Canada, and
Okay,
it has to do with the RCMP and
and they beat up an indigenous woman lawyer.
yeah, yeah,
She's a lawyer who's indigenous.
yes,
I got a lot to say. I have lots of First Nation friends, and I got to tell you, I got lots to say about it. And it's something that affects me directly, like personally.
wow,
That's
yeah,
happening. That's racist in
yeah.
our government. That's happening. That actually affects me personally too.
It
We're going to
affects
talk about
everyone.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about that. Stay tuned till the end of the podcast to get into that. But I wanted to talk about kind of like conspiracy and the USA and what they sit on and all this information that they have that we're not privy to. Now, there's lots of stuff going on in Ukraine. There's tons of stuff. There's tons of stuff going on all over the world. Why now reveal? Look at this. This is from The Guardian.
Yeah.
This is a pretty trusted site, I believe. The Guardian.
Yeah.
So, okay.
I would say, yeah.
Yes, I'm happy. U.S. urged to reveal UFO evidence after claim that it has intact alien vehicles. This is the U.S. government that claimed they have intact alien spacecraft. And why is that not all over the news? Of course, when we do the podcast, it's the first thing I fucking choose,
Well, yeah.
Jesus.
This
And
is.
I think it's a cover up. I think they're covering up. I haven't read it. I don't know anything about it yet. We're gonna read this article again. I haven't read the article yet.
Okay, good, because I'm looking forward to it. I haven't read it either, just so that we can experience it firsthand.
Yeah. Okay. So let's. This is from the Guardian, I believe. Yes, the Guardian.
Yeah.
The U.S. has been urged to disclose evidence of UFOs after a whistleblower, former intelligence official, said the government has possession of intact and partially intact alien vehicles. The former intelligence official, David Grutch, who led analysis of unexplained anomalous phenomena, UAP, that's what they call them now. They're not UFOs anymore. They're
Oh.
unexplained anomalous phenomena, UAP. With the U.S. Department of Defense agency, has alleged that the U.S. has craft of non-human origin. So this is the U.S. Department of Defense agency has alleged that they have U.S. They have in the U.S. spacecraft.
Okay.
Isn't that
Okay.
crazy? Like, why
Wow.
wouldn't this be like the talk of the world right
Well,
now?
because people have been talking about these things for a long time.
Well, it
We just
started
didn't have
off
any
with
proof,
Tom
right?
DeLonge. Tom DeLonge from this picture is something that he released.
Yeah.
He has the Tom DeLonge from Blink 182. You know him,
No.
Tom? Anyway, from the big punk rock band Blink 182. He kind of left Blink 182. He's back with them now, but he left Blink 182 for a while to pursue this company, To the Stars or something. I believe it's called To the Stars,
Okay.
and
Okay.
it's all about like production and science and putting entertainment with science together. He's working on this big project, and
Okay.
this is one of the first things that his site released was
Yeah.
I don't know if there's footage here, but this picture right here, this was taken by like Navy people about 5 or 6 years ago or
Yeah.
something like that, and it just got released. And these guys saw these crafts, doing incredible, impossible maneuvers in the air to be a human man's spacecraft. So anyway, let's continue.
Nice.
Oh, I went to the wrong article. There we go. Information of these vehicles is being illegally withheld from Congress, Grush told the debrief. Grush said when he turned over classified information about the vehicles to Congress, he suffered retaliation from government officials. He left the government in April after a 14-year career in U.S. intelligence. 14 years is a long time.
Yes.
Jonathan Gray, a current U.S. intelligence official at the National Air and Space Intelligence Center, NASIC, never heard of that, confirmed
Wow.
the existence of exotic materials to the debrief, adding, "We are not alone." Exotic materials, okay. Sometimes I wonder, like, exotic materials, like, that could be, I just think underground, like, deep within the earth, I bet you there's lots of wondrous material that we don't know that has uses for us that we just can't even understand yet. I guarantee it. There's got to be.
Absolutely.
So when they say like materials, I'm like, yeah, that could be manufactured. But anyway,
Yeah. True.
let's keep on going. Okay, let's keep on going. The disclosures come well after credible sightings and reports have revived attention in alien ships and potential visits in recent years. In 2021, the Pentagon released a report on UAP. The term is referred to UFO by much of the extraterrestrial community, which found more than 140 instances of UAP encounters that cannot be explained. Okay, so this is kind of like it's what society. Now, this is my question. We're going to finish the article, but like this is happening. Why with everything that's going? Everyone's been talking about this for 30 years.
Yes.
There's so much. It's coming up to an election in Canada. It possibly. We'll see what happens in the States. It's coming up. The tours. What are they called again? What do you call it when you're a candidate running for president?
Your campaign.
Your campaign. Yeah, campaign. Yeah. That's the word. The campaigns are starting. This is all happening. Donald Trump's starting to come back into the news feed. All these, the war Ukraine there's polarizing situations going down there for North Americans with what's going on with Canada, America, and and Ukraine and all the other things. Why drop this now? Why do this now?
I'm thinking some of it leaked, and now they have no choice.
So this guy apparently, but this is all on the credibility of one individual.
I have a question. Though
he must have some serious.
What do you think that they would want with us?
I think they want to be friends.
Do you?
Yeah, but I think that they have. I think that our potential has been suppressed by fascistic governments. Mm-hmm. And I think that we've been wielded to be less useful and less prominent in our values and in less experience in our expression. Like we don't fully comprehend what's going on anymore and I think the aliens would be the pure form of our potential. They teach us things that we didn't know we could do about health, about science, about
so they
travel,
could use,
about sociology, about relationships. Yeah, they could use us. They could use us, but I think they want to help us. But the U.S. government has, in the governments of the world, have dug the hole too deep. That right now we're not ready for it. I don't think as a society. I think the aliens aren't coming to us because they don't think we're ready to fucking hear what they have to say or do whatever.
Or maybe we don't have much to offer them. You know what I'm saying? Like
maybe not.
They're probably more advanced than we are.
Well, probably, and what happens with more advanced societies? They get more violent. Is there a point where peace transcends violence out of, like usefulness? It's more useful to be nice.
Right,
is it more useful to be hateful
or more productive? Yeah.
More productive, yeah. Like maybe if you're talking about like reality, but maybe if we knew the nature of reality and knew the secrets of the stars and all the secrets of religions and what actually is going on in the universe, and if we knew that would change our entire outlook on everything. We'd be unified as a people. Yeah. And maybe they don't want us to be unified as a people, the aliens. Maybe they want us to be fucking fighting. Maybe they're the ones orchestrating all of the shit that's going on in the world. Maybe this is their nefarious action.
Maybe they need us for parts.
Yeah, for parts, eh? Because I think what I've thought. Oh, this is fucking crazy. I'm glad I thought of this. I've often pondered if like aliens are just like ancient humans.
Yeah.
That evolved over billions of years. With a recorded history.
Well, that's what I think, and that's why they need our parts.
And aliens are just humans that learned how to leave the Earth and become interplanetary.
Yeah, because it's really like Margaret Atwood's The Handmaid's Tale. They need the women who can still reproduce to reproduce. So of course they're going to try to control. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, imagine like if aliens like semi-human transcended humanoids came and impregnated all the maybe that's what made us evolve from primates, from like Neanderthals, is someone got banged by an alien and started a new race and started a new species. And that's humans, that's us.
I've had dreams about that, about like wards just with women just being forced to have babies.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, right?
You know,
What is that? Yeah, what's that show called where they all wear the red dresses and the
but
white
that's what I
hats?
was saying earlier. The Handmaid's Tale by
Yeah,
Margaret
the Handmaid's
Atwood.
Tale. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Margaret Atwood. Yeah.
That's what it is.
Wow.
Maybe they need that. But you know what? Just a side note here. I saw a meme. I think it was yesterday or today, and it said something like, now I know for sure. If ever I wondered if they were coming for us, now I know for sure they're not, because it's a picture of a group of people huddled underneath an umbrella in a pool, and it's
Mm-hmm.
raining. So they're in the
Right.
corner of the pool and it's raining, and they're under an umbrella, all sharing the same umbrella, and it
Right.
looks kind
In a
of dumb
pool.
because
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
pool. But when you think about, that's what I was saying earlier. What would they want with us? You know, what could they? It's not our brains. It's not our intelligence. Perhaps they want
I
the
don't know.
actual brain, but you know,
I think it might be them just trying to remember where they came from, like studying essentially, like lab rats.
or
I
to
think
just
like I
conquer.
wouldn't be
Yeah,
surprised if like the ones the like we're talking about the lifelong politicians, like the ones that are sitting in spots they've been sitting in for 50 years,
yeah,
and the people behind them, and the people that lobby them, and the people that maneuver their thoughts, you know, somehow produce their thoughts. Those are the people that are causing all the change, and maybe those people, the hidden people, as they call the deep state, maybe that is like maybe they're in communication with the aliens and they're doing this all to us on purpose, nefariously. Maybe aliens are just fucking with us, and we'd be just fine if they didn't have us worrying about race and politics all the time. You know?
true. It could be a diversion or something, but
Yeah.
as you know, there's a lot of stuff that they keep from us, the
Exactly,
government.
and that's exactly why I chose this article, which we should get back to. That's exactly why I chose this article, because why now, with everything that's going on, why drop alien? We have spacecraft. Okay, let's read the rest of this article.
Okay,
Let's see what it says. Let's see what if it says anything about the spacecrafts. Okay, the report followed a leak of military footage that showed apparently inexplicable happenings in the sky, while Navy pilots testified they had frequently had encounters with strange craft off the U.S. coast. That's old news. That's fucking real old news. I wish they weren't fucking putting that bullshit in the fucking article. This is a brand new article. The report followed in an interview with debrief journalists Leslie Keene and Ralph Blumenthal, who previously exposed the existence of the secret Pentagon program that investigated UFOs. Grush said the U.S. government defense contractors have been recovering fragments of non-human craft, in some cases entire craft, for decades. We're not talking about prosaic origins or identities, Grush said. The materials include intact and partially intact vehicles. Crush told the debrief that analysis determined that it is material of exotic origin, meaning non-human intelligence, whether extraterrestrial or unknown origin. This assessment is based on the vehicle morphologies and material science testing and the possession of unique atomic arrangements of radiological signatures. This is a brand new article. This just came out yesterday. Gray, who according to debrief analyzes unexplained anomalous phenomena within the NASA, confirmed Grush's account. The non-human intelligence phenomenon is real. We are not alone, Gray said. Retrievals of this kind are not limited to the United States. This is a global phenomenon, and yet global solution continues to elude us. The debrief spoke of several of Grush's former colleagues, each of whom is vouched for his character, so they list a bunch of names here. Nick Pope. It's one thing to have stories on the conspiracy blogs, but this takes it to the next level, with genuine insiders coming forward, Pope said. When these people make formal complaints, they do so on understanding that they'll knowingly be making a false statement. They are liable to a fairly hefty fine. So these people that are these Navy sailors guys that are coming through, they could lose their career.
yeah.
In December last year, the office said it received several hundred new reports, but no evidence so far of alien life. And it goes on. How does this article end? Let's see. Pope said in his work investigating UFOs for the MOD, he had seen no hard evidence of non-human crafts or materials. This is Pope, though. Some of our cases are intriguing, Pope said, but we didn't have any spaceship or hangar anywhere. So, of course, they're denying it. But why, if they're denying it, why give it to CNN? Why give it to Fox News? Why give it to MSNBC? Why give it to Global? Why give it to City TV? Why do all these things right now? Why does this alien story spark up? What my question is, what the fuck are they hiding? They're hiding something. Something big's going on right now. And I think this is just to distract the real fucking truth seekers like myself and yourself from figuring out what's going on.
It could be, like I said earlier, like a distraction.
Yeah. I wonder, like, what do you think? What are they doing?
I think they know. I think they know something. They don't want to tell us, but I think that it's leaking somewhere and it's going to be found out anyway. And so they're
Hmm.
giving us something. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
something big's gonna happen. I don't know,
but the
but I mean,
materials I'm curious to know, you
yeah,
know.
but once again, this is all hearsay, and I didn't realize that.
Oh,
I thought the Pentagon actually said were in possession of the craft. This is just some guy who was special agent or whatever.
yeah.
This is his whistleblower, and he has nothing to lose because he's already not working for the government anymore. So that kind of puts a thing in where it's like, but why do this now? That's my question. I have no idea. That is my story. Hopefully, you guys like that banter. And now, Ren, why don't you tell us about your story, and I'll get the article queued up.
Okay. So I'm just going to wait for
This
you
is
to
gonna
get
get
that up
heavy.
there.
This is gonna get heavy, by the way.
Of course, yeah, it's the news, so there's always going to be,
Hmm.
unfortunately. But this should make for a good discussion afterwards. So,
Okay, I got
so
lots to
this
say.
one, so Indigenous lawyer injured during Central Alberta arrest alleges RCMP used extreme force. RCMP characterized driver and passenger, both women, as the aggressors. And this article is was posted on June 6th, 2023.
Okay.
And it was updated on June 7th.
What's today? Today. Today's the 7th.
Today's the 7th, yeah.
This is brand spanking new. I got a buddy in Red Deer actually.
And this is CBC News, the
Yeah.
source of this.
You know,
Okay.
in CBC, I've kind of lost love for, but they're still a fucking valid news company. Like they still have people looking at news. It's not like it's totally people, especially my right wing
I,
buddies. They got this idea that the news is so fucking filthy, corrupt, and I don't think it's as bad as people think. I think that's kind of like a conspiracy theory to think that all of these news companies don't have any validity to them at all, and they're just a product of the machine. I don't know about
I,
that.
I do think that CBC, is a good way to get the news, and then you can make up your mind. But there are
Yeah,
some news sources that lean towards,
right.
So let's just see what it
What
says, and then
is
we can.
what? Okay, so CBC is like a left wing, whatever news, like left leaning news source. What's the right leaning news source in Canada?
Well, it used to be the Sun and the Star. You remember
They
that
were right. They were
newspaper?
more conservative.
The Sun was sorry, so the Star was more conservative and the Sun was more liberal, I believe.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I think. Yeah, yeah.
That's
Um
Toronto though. I'm just wondering about like
but still,
nationally. Like
but CBC, I mean, it's all over. So, I mean,
it's
this is a
they're
good.
in some way reputable. This is a legit article.
Exactly. Yeah, let's just
But
say.
is this opinion? Like the last article that I read, the Guardian, that was not opinion. That was kind of factual. It didn't lead me in any other direction. It just gave me some information that I needed. Do you think this is going to be like in? Well, we'll see. We'll see.
But
Read
that's
it.
the thing. I don't really want their opinion. I want the
I know,
facts. Yeah.
and that's why you have to be careful with who you choose the articles from.
Yeah, exactly. So okay,
Okay.
so the picture of the woman lady here, it says Indigenous Red Deer lawyer Laura. I don't know if it's
Vipers.
Vipers or yeah Vipers.
Vipers.
37 suffered injuries during an altercation with RCMP on the weekend. She was charged with assaulting a peace officer, but says police used excessive force. So, a Red Deer lawyer says she and her friend were beaten by an RCMP officer this past weekend after they were pulled over in a central Alberta town. Defense lawyer Laura Fipers, 37, suffered a concussion and broken nose after she was punched at least 7 times in the face and chest by a constable, according to her brother, also a lawyer.
Okay.
However, RCMP say they stand by their initial news release, which characterizes the two women as the aggressors. The women were pulled over Saturday in Innisfail, a town about 100 kilometers north of Calgary. At the time, Desiree Friesen, 24, was driving while Fippers was in the passenger seat. Both women are Indigenous.
Not that it matters. Like right now for this story,
Well,
and I'm curious why they were pulled over. Like what was
so
going
far
on
we
here?
know that they struck one woman
So
7 times.
far we know that the RCMPs fucked him up. But I'm
Yeah.
wondering why they got pulled over in the first place. Like, were they drunk or were
Okay.
they?
Well, yes. Okay. So two sides. It says here. Friesen faces charges of assaulting a peace officer, resisting arrest, refusing to provide a breath sample, and dangerous driving.
Okay.
Fippers is charged with assaulting a peace officer, obstructing a peace officer, and uttering threats.
That sounds pretty minor.
On Monday, RCMP issued a press release detailing the women's alleged crimes. But Pfeiffer's brother, Andrew Pfeiffer's, I think it's Pfeiffer's, or I think
I
Pfeiffer's.
think it's Vipers.
Okay, who is a defense lawyer in Red Deer, responded on his sister's behalf, saying there is no dispute of a roadside confrontation, but there are two sides to what went down. Andrew Pfeiffer said although his sister did not want to engage in the public forum and trusts the facts will ultimately refute the allegation made against her, the RCMP release compels a response. And then it has here, closed fist punches.
Jesus. Do you think, before we continue, do you think that there's, like, for sure racist against First Nations people,
Yes,
RCMP people active right now?
100%.
Yeah, so you think that they just beat the fuck out of her because she's First Nations?
Do you think if this was two white women,
It probably wouldn't have made the news.
it would have made the news and it would have been an outrage?
You think so?
I think so.
If it,
But again,
I don't-
I'm not really supposed to give my opinion here, so that's
right.
just,
I'm just curious. Like, I'm wondering if it was two white women, if it would have got the, like, is this like front news, like main story on the news page across Canada, CBC?
it's. I mean, I
Like,
think so.
I'm surprised.
Well,
it
I
should
guess
be.
we.
It
I
should
mean,
be.
we all get our feed based on what we.
But I think,
You know
but
what I
what
mean?
the point that I'm trying to make, Ren, is that I think this kind of shit happens all the time. We just don't hear
Yes,
about it.
absolutely.
Like, I think it happens
Absolutely.
way more than people want to admit, and
Um,
then we'll ever know. You know. 'Cause
Yes.
being a police officer is a pretty threatening position. It's pretty easy to use it the wrong way, to use your force the wrong way.
And do you have to strike a woman 7 times?
No, definitely not. You don't need to
You know what
strike
I
anybody.
mean?
You don't need to strike. You should
No,
know how to
but
take a person down.
I don't know about you. We both did some studies in the same field, and we worked as counselors and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Did you not do nonviolent crisis intervention?
Oh,
I
all the
did.
time. All the time.
And
Yeah.
and also
Every 3 years.
they are trained to take someone down if they
Exactly,
have
and
to.
disable them properly, like martial arts. Essentially, is what it
So
should
this yes, so this shows that
be. Cops
there is
should be
there's
forced to take martial arts.
there is a disregard, right, for the
Yeah.
person, like a disrespect, and there's also this thing where I think that there's not a lot of consequence. I think to it,
Right.
you know what I mean, and that's why I think there's liberties here and perhaps privilege, you know.
But now my next question is: does she have previous history with these officers? Is, like, what is she's a lawyer, or her brother's a lawyer?
I believe they both are.
Okay, so she's obviously well studied and smart and educated, and probably lives in a nice home. So that doesn't really make her seem like she's an angry, drunk outrager or something. That doesn't add up. She sounds like she's got her shit together. So I don't know why. Maybe they'll get into it. Sorry,
But that makes me think what you said there. What if she has a past? What if she's been drinking?
Oh, I got something here that I think is it. She's
Okay.
a lawyer. Her brother's a lawyer. They
Uh-huh.
probably became lawyers to fight First Nations injustice, which I got a big fucking spiel to tell at the end of this thing about. Maybe she's bringing them down. Maybe she's the fucking one. Maybe she's the one bringing these RCMPs to justice.
Maybe.
She's the one doing the work, doing the book work.
It seems like it was a little personal, perhaps, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, obviously, it's got to be personal. That's why I'm wondering the history that she has with him. Like,
Yeah.
I'm wondering, like, what the history is. Is it lawyer, judge, courtroom history? Possibly, right?
Perhaps. Yes. That's a good.
likely.
Yeah. Yeah. Likely.
Totally likely.
Okay. Well, let me tell you what happened. Let's see. So this is where we are
Okay.
now. We're at closed fist punches.
Yeah.
On Saturday, RCMP said an officer pulled the truck over after it allegedly ran a stop sign near the Innisfail Hospital. The officer demanded a mandatory alcohol screening sample. According to the Viper's statement, Friesen asked for a clean straw to be used on the screening device. It's not a,
That's pretty. That's especially with all the COVID shit that we just endured.
right. Yeah. Okay. According to the
Bullshit,
Viper's
I should say.
statement,
But anyway.
Friesen asked for a clean straw. Okay, so he's on the screen device. The officer immediately escalated to the use of extreme force to rip Ms. Friesen from the vehicle, the Vipers allege. Friesen, who was still wearing her seatbelt, became entangled in her sweater and the seatbelt and causing her to choke.
I think that was maybe a little hyperbolic of what actually happened, but that's their opinion, right? Like we got to somehow find meet in the middle.
But
Like,
think about it this way,
I
Brendan.
think I think they got really aggressive right away,
But
and then
still, let's
a
just
fight
say,
ensued.
okay, wait. How aggressive can you be sitting in your car with your seatbelt on?
Well, behind a car, you can be pretty aggressive when you're
Do you
driving
know what
a
I mean,
machine.
though? Do you know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah, for sure. I'm not saying
If someone
she's
comes at
threatening.
me to remove me from my car and
I'm just saying. I
basically
know
putting
that
their
you're
hands
not
on
what I'm
me,
saying.
yeah.
You're missing what I'm saying.
Okay, I'm gonna. Okay.
Like it's not that she's threatening. It just means that like she is in a situation where oh fuck, I just lost my train of thought. God damn it. Keep reading.
Okay. Once out on the roadside, Vipers came to the aid of her friend, according to the statement.
Oh right, sorry. Before you go on, this is what I was gonna say. Yes, of course. I obviously firmly believe the RCMP were out of line. Whatever they did was harassment and abuse and violence. But that was her and her brother's rendition of what happened. Just to say, like that is as opinion as it gets, right? Even though it is from the victims, but considering that it is from the victims, you still have to realize that this is probably in some way amplified from reality. That's the point I'm making. Nothing to dismiss her as a victim at all. I'm just saying that was her point of view. Those were quotes from her and her brother.
I hear you. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, Constable Benedict delivered no less than 7 closed fist punches to the head and chest of Ms. Vipers, reads the release. Friesen, who was lying face first on the ground, had her head slammed multiple times into the gravel.
Wow.
Okay. So now, women belligerent, say RCMP. This is a quote, right? They're saying they were belligerent. But RCMP say the driver and passenger were both intoxicated, belligerent, and verbally aggressive with the officer. The officer was in the process of arresting the driver for refusing to provide a breath sample, but she refused to get out of the vehicle, according to the Mounties. The police statement goes on to say the passenger grabbed the driver to prevent her from being arrested. Once Friesen was removed from the truck, Vipers got out and approached police in a fighting stance and threatened the member's life, according to the
Jesus
RCMP
Christ!
statement.
Come on, you fucking unbelievable. Those RCMPs are a bunch of pussies, if that's what they're saying. No, I shouldn't say pussies. My bad.
Well, if you say that this is why you strike someone,
That's why this is after she gets struck, and you're afraid. This is after and you're afraid.
No, I think they're saying that's why they asked that they were afraid, and that's why they got violent because
so they beat her with their fists. So they engage in a fist fight with this woman. That's what's going on.
At this point, they are just basically victims of verbal
that is
something,
bullshit.
right?
That's fucking bullshit.
All right.
That's fucking lies.
Yeah,
Lies.
it is. Yes.
I don't
Okay.
care. I don't care if that's opinion. That does not fucking add up. That sounds like a bunch of fucking liars. Okay, go on.
Okay. Whew. Friesen is accused of physically assaulting the officer as he tried to arrest both women. Wait, okay, hang on. Friesen is accused of physically assault. Okay. Police say the officer and the passenger were both injured. Both women are due in court later this month. Okay, here's okay, where it gets interesting. Sensationalized allegations. This is the union. RCMP Corporal Troy Savinkoff said if there are allegations of excessive force, there's a process in place where people can file a report and it can be investigated. Kevin Halwa, the Prairie Region Director of the National Police Federation, the labor union that represents RCMP officers, issued a response to the Vipers statement. Here's the response. A family member of one of the accused has chosen to vent sensationalized allegations of misconduct by the arresting member of the RCMP to the media, wrote Halwa. There are numerous complaints processes available to members of the public in the event they feel that a police officer's actions were not appropriate or justified. The third party complainant who presents themselves as a member of the legal profession would know this, but chose to publicly shame the officer who has no opportunity to explain the situation without compromising ongoing criminal matters before the courts.
You know what? Fucking unions. I don't know how I feel about unions. I like the idea of unions. But what I can say is my honest experience of unions is that they kept really bad employees from getting fired a lot in my personal support
Yes.
work
Yeah,
life.
they protect. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like they protect no
Yeah.
matter what you do. And I worked with some real abusive, like I worked in the old school, like right after institutions closed, right? Like the first group homes there were. I
Yeah.
was working in them.
Yeah.
And for like the mentally disabled. And it was just like some of the worst people were doing some of the worst things you can imagine. The old dogs that were still in the business, 70 years old, still working, covered by the union after 30 years of service of being an abusive fuck. You know, like that happens. But that being said, this is an article which I like. It says quotes. As long as
Yes.
the quotes are accurate,
Yeah.
it sounds like both people are bullshitting. I don't know what happened. What I know happened is the RCMP wrote a line and they beat a girl when they should have just arrested her if she was being a problem. They should have used their tactful movements to bring her down and cuff her and put her in the car if that's what was going on. If she was drunk or whatever, you don't punch a girl. You don't give. She should not have a black eye. She should not have scrapes on her face from getting pressed to the concrete. That is abuse. That is an overreach of power. No matter how you look at it, I don't care what happened. Those cops should go and get reviewed and investigated at the very least, 100%.
In my experience with things of a similar nature, it is very hard to defend yourself on something that you didn't do. Do you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
gaslighting. It's like you have to go and say, this happened to me, and then you have to explain why this wasn't your fault.
Right.
Right? And so this is what it is. It is an abuse of power. It is. There's a possibility when you
It's
think
an
of it
abuse of
this way.
strength too.
There's a possibility that these women were targeted. There's a possibility
Oh, for sure, yeah.
that they were stopped for no reason. These are all possibilities.
And there's a
maybe,
possibility of a strong history between them and the officers too.
and just because you can't necessarily prove that right now, what other way do you have? All you have is what you have, and this is what they're saying happened. And now they're saying, oh, now they're sensationalizing it.
Right.
They're making it into something because they want, maybe they want attention or something. This is what they're trying to say, I think.
Right, yeah. Well, and if they're putting that much effort into, if the RCMP is putting that much effort into, and a union's coming forward, because obviously they probably were about to get fired and the union stepped in and said, no, you're not firing these officers. Why are they protecting? I mean, why making the stories and sensationalizing everything and saying how bad they were? That just discredits you as an officer, as far as I'm concerned, because you couldn't take care of an unruly woman, an intelligent, educated woman who's probably speaking to you very directly and sharply. You can't handle that when you're a fucking 200-pound whatever man and you're twice her size and twice her strength.
And that could just be an excuse, just an excuse.
Well, I think we're going to hear more about this. I don't think we've heard the last.
And another thing, before we end this conversation about this, can we just put the picture back up of her face, if you have it? No, not yet. Okay. So, when you think about it, this woman was stopped because of the traffic violation. She apparently, it was a stop sign. Ran a stop sign.
At the hospital. Which is fine. Give her a ticket. Be on your way. There's history here.
And this happened to her before probably she even got out of the vehicle.
Yeah.
How much of a threat do you think she could have been?
No, she
for someone to beat her like that.
I don't think. I think that's even. I don't even think we need to explain that anymore. Like, it's obvious. This is.
I think
it comes down to that the history of these two. What's going on with this relationship? I refuse to believe that an officer did this to a woman he never knew, never met, just because she was First Nations. Because if that's the case, the world is gonna die any day. I can't believe that. I can't believe that. I will not believe that. I'm too optimistic. I believe that. I believe my prediction is that she had fucking lots of shit, lots of information on crooked cops, and was in the process of bringing them down. I think that's what happened, and this was a warning. And then she said, "I'm not putting up with the shit." Called her brother, had a little conversation, and realized that they were fucking in the right to go forward and get this into the media.
Yeah, I'd like to.
They're doing it right. They're doing it right. They're using the media to their advantage.
If anyone wants to learn more or read up on this, it's just we all should be doing, right?
Yep.
There's a documentary called Thunder Bay, and it's I believe it was on Crave initially, so it might be on Netflix now.
Mm-hmm.
But if anyone has the time, to want to read to want to learn more, you will see after you watch this that Brendan, yes, it's entirely possible that they were stopped even randomly and treated that way.
It is impossible.
And
I just don't want to believe it.
Oh, well, okay. Well, why don't you watch this documentary? And when you do, let's have a conversation again.
Yeah. Well, I think I probably have actually even seen it. And the thing is that I live in an area. I stated at the start of this podcast, I was going to tell how in First Nations racism affects me directly. Okay, so I live in an area in northern Vancouver Island where there's less white people than First Nations people. There's more First Nations people. And I also worked at a detox facility where alcoholics and drug addicts detox from like their first week after the hospital or the first 2 weeks after the hospital is with us in the detox facility. So I got to know a lot of Indigenous people, and a lot of First Nations family members know me because I supported their family member, whether it be a kid or a brother or an uncle or whatever, because there's big families that all kind of live in the same area. And so I have a good insight as to how people are affected by this. And now this is my issue. This is blatant racism from the Canadian government. You don't have to sell fish commercially as a First Nations. You can sell it commercially and not have to have a commercial license. Okay? That's great. They can sell fish to whoever they want, right? But now listen to this. As a restaurant owner, I am not allowed to buy off anybody who doesn't have a commercial license, yet they are not required to get it. So I can't. They're basically saying don't buy fish off the First Nations is basically what they're saying. And because of that, and this is why it's fascist, because I pay 3 times as much for fish because of that. That is the most blatantly racist shit I've ever experienced in my entire life.
Wow.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
And it just happens, and nobody really says anything about it.
Well, except us. We're going to fucking say it.
Yeah.
On that note, this is World News Indie, guys. Catch us on Spotify. Catch us on Instagram. Catch us on Twitter. Ren, that was a pleasure. We'll see you guys next week. Same place, same time.